I am here today to film another wrap-up video for 2016. As I've said in other videos, if you haven't watched them, I'm doing every 5 books. I'm doing a wrap-up instead of doing a wrap-up at the end of the month, even though both wrap-ups have ended up being at the end of the month. However, mostly because I finished the 5th book and I wait a week and a half. So yeah, so that's a thing. Anyway, let's move on to the first book that I'm going to talk about, book number 11, and that is Made to Last by Melissa Tagg, or Tagg, however you pronounce her last name. So this is a contemporary romance novel. It follows this character Miranda, who just seems like her life is just all put together. She is a host of a successful home improvement television show, and she supposedly has an amazing husband that she talks about on her show. However, you know, not everything is as it seems on the outside. And then you have Matthew, who is a reporter, and he's trying to put his life back together after making a huge mistake and doing this story that pretty much just washed his career out, and he's trying to put it back together. And so his boss says, I'm giving you one last story to prove to me that you still have it. And his story is to go and find the story with Miranda and what really is behind the persona that people see on TV. So the synopsis of the story is basically, one has secrets, one tries to expose the secrets, and it probably is going to blow up in the worst possible way. I really enjoyed this story. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I thought the characters were really fun. I liked the main character of Miranda and Matthew, but I also really enjoyed the secondary characters, the supporting characters. I thought they had a lot of personality. So even though I thought the ending was a little bit too wrapped up neatly and was wrapped up very quickly, I still think that it was a pretty decent story. So if you're looking for a good contemporary romance story with pretty believable characters that do struggle with actual life issues and things don't just get handed to them, I would definitely recommend Made to Last. Moving on to the second book, I want to talk about book number 12, I believe, and that is The Moon and More by Sarah Dessen. So this book is about Emmeline, who when you first meet her, she has this amazing boyfriend, Luke. She's getting ready to go to college. It's her last summer before she goes to college. She has, you know, a decent job. She has a pretty good, close-knit family, and you think that, okay, her life is just kind of all there. Everything's just kind of just there, and it's really put well together, and everything's going well. And then in walks Theo, who is a production assistant, and him and his producer are in this small beach town doing a documentary on this local artist. So he meets Emmeline, and throughout their friendship, he is kind of opening her eyes to maybe life in this small town and life at the not local college but pretty local college is not necessarily all that Emmeline can do. That maybe she should reach and try to strive for more in life. And so the premise sounds really amazing. You think, okay, you have this really good coming of age story about this girl realizing that maybe she doesn't have to settle. Maybe there's more in life. However, I didn't like Emmeline as a character. I thought she was really passive, and she really just let everybody walk all over her. And it's so annoying. And then there's Theo, who you think that, okay, this character that's coming in, he is going to want the best for Emmeline. But he's this really selfish and, I don't know, just he's out for his own gain, and it's just, I don't know, it wasn't the best story I've ever read by Sarah Dessen. I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. I still will continue to read books by her. I like her writing. It's just this one just kind of fell flat. It just wasn't the best with the best characters, and the ending was wrapped up way too quickly. The next books that I want to talk about are the first 2 books in a trilogy, and the first one being Poison Study, the second one being Magic Study by Maria V. Snyder. I read this book in 2 days. It was so amazing. It follows this girl, Yelena, who is set to be executed, and in in their world, in their government, the next person that is to be executed, if there is a position available for the commander's food taster, they have the option of becoming the next food taster or being executed. And so Alina decides to become the commander's food taster, and her life just kind of gets thrust into this world of learning about different poisons and keeping the commander safe, and you find out her backstory of what landed her in prison in the first place. And I just thought Yelena as a character is so amazing. I really loved her as a character. I thought she was very believable and very likable, and oh my goodness, and just the rest of the story, it was not, even though there was a possibility of a romantic interest, it was not anywhere near part of the story. It kind of came in the end, but not really. And what really just drove the story was Yelena and her work, and kind of figuring out where she lands in all of this world, and then just the magic system that comes into play and why it's forbidden and has played out in the past to make it forbidden, and how the world is set up. I thought it was beautiful. The world building was fantastic. Oh my goodness, this book is so amazing. So if you are a fan of fantasy and you are looking for a good fantasy trilogy, I highly recommend The Poison Study, and I think it's called the Study series. I'm not sure. I would have to say this is a little bit more mature. Yelena's backstory is pretty graphic. So the youngest I would say would be 16, if not older than that. So I highly recommend this. And then the second one is Magic Study, which I cannot tell you anything about this story except that it continues Alina's story. And I finished this book in a day and a half. It was so fantastic. I gave Poison Study a 5 out of 5 stars, I think, or 4.5 out of 5 stars, and I would give Magic Study a 4 out of 5 stars. There were some places that I didn't really like, but overall I thought Magic Study was fantastic. Okay, so the last book that I want to talk about is The Keeper of Secrets by Stephanie Knieze. I'm so sorry. I know, Stephanie, you've told me how to say your last name like 500 times, but I think it's Knieze. It rhymes as crazy. Anyway, okay, so Keeper of Secrets. This is a book about Avalon, who just wants a normal life, and she just wants to kind of go through high school and just do normal things, and then she moves across the country to live with her aunt, and things just become not so normal. She gets pulled into this secret society, secret club, and finds out that she has a past that she didn't realize. She has a lineage that she didn't realize, and she's thrust into this new magic world of dragons and fairies and magic. And I have to say that this book is marketed as a YA fantasy. I would say because of the language and the writing and the length, this would be better suited for a middle grade, probably 12 to 14 girls that are looking for a fantasy novel. I thought that the characters were well developed. The world building was pretty good. There were a few places that the writing itself, for my personal taste, was a little bit simple than I would prefer. However, I thought that it was a pretty good story, and this is the first book in a trilogy, so if you're looking for a middle grade fantasy for your young girls, I would say this is a good place for them to start. Or if you have an older kid that is looking for a fantasy that's not a very big reader, this is a good place to start because the language is pretty simple and it's pretty easy to read. So that is Keeper of Secrets by Stephanie Knieze. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Okay guys, so those are the last 5 books that I have read. Let me know down below if you've read any of these and what your thoughts are, and anything else you want to put down in the comments below. And as always guys, I hope you're having a great reading month, and I will see you on the flip side. Bye!